considerable extent. So what we're talking about here is between Lemoore and Kingston is where they saw the settlers moving Indians up to Fresno. The large number of stock in this country consumes every acorn almost as soon as it falls and keeps the grass eaten down so as to prevent it from going to seed. You know the Indian's main dependency is upon acorns and grass seed. Those gone, those done, what is he to live on? And then this guy was complaining about, the one thing is certain, that if the proper Indian authorities do not attend to their removal, the citizens will have to do it. Another article here, I'm going to finish, there's just a couple more articles just to talk about this, but I want to put you in mindset as to what was going on. This article here talks about the actual moving of the Indians and the argument that they had with the representatives of the Bureau of Indian Affairs as to what are you going to do with these people? And what they were doing was, here's what it says, by last name, the judge arrived and moved some 60 of them to the upper Kings River with orders to them to go into the mountains nearby, and he left home and sent over from San Joaquin the balance of the thieving tribe. Now, there are Indian rancherias that are between Pine Flat Lake and Shaver Lake. There are small, little, tiny rancherias, maybe 10, 20, 30 acres. And this is their ancestors. That's how they got into the hills there, was they were driven out of the valley, and they've made subsistence living up there ever since. And we'll talk about how the local tribe, Santa Rosa Rancheria, has made it their mission to help those tribes because they're cousins. This just goes on to talk about, he said, they said, why can't you feed these people? And he says he had nothing to feed them, and he had already exhausted his quarter's appropriation, so he basically ran out of money to feed the Indians. And so this again goes on to talk about them, and we're going to get to Kingston. Does everybody know where Kingston was? Kingston was the first white settlement in the Central Valley. And it was located about 1 mile west of Layton along the Kings River. And so what you have here is, this is from an 1883 map I have of Fresno County. And what I did was I just took a close view of the Kingston, and then I superimposed that portion of the map onto a 1937 aerial view of the river. So what you have here is, here's Layton up here, and this is the road that takes you into Layton across the bridge into Layton, and then shows the ferry bridge in the town of Kingston that was here. And so in Kingston, it used to be called Whitmore's Ferry. And this is the actual ferry that crossed the river at Kingston. And Whitmore was a guy, his name was Lucas Albert Whitmore, born August 17, 1820 in Connecticut. He married Susan Jane Smith in 1846. She died in childbirth in 1847, leaving Lucius with his son Marcellus. He left his son with his parents and moved to Stockton in 1850. In 1854-1855, he established the ferry that was located 1 mile west of where Layton is now. It became a natural trading post, and the town was originally named Whitmore, and then the name was changed to Kingston after the Kings River. Now, when Whitmore came to the area, his wife died, and so what he did was he married an Indian woman, and they had a couple children. And so when it came time for people to want to move the Indians out of the area, they came after his wife. What happened to him? Murder on the Kings River. L.A. Whitmore, proprietor of the Whitmore's Ferry on Lower Kings River, was murdered in his own house on about the 27th of January, 1859 by Dr. Workman. It seems, says the Mariposa Gazette, that the difficulty originated out of the recent Indian disturbances in the region. Whitmore was opposed to the removal of the Indians, hence a feud arose between him and those in favor of that measure. An Indian boy in the service of Whitmore had caught a pig in snares set to catch geese, and the anti-Indian party, intended to make Whitmore responsible for the act, assembled at his house, some 12 to 15 in number. Whitmore closed the doors and forbid their entrance, upon which the mob broke in the door, and Workman fired at Whitmore, killing him instantly. Workman fled immediately. Whitmore is said to have been an upright and worthy citizen. Now, I have not been able to find the time to who this Dr. Workman is. Yeah, that would be something that I would love to be, because I don't have a first name. So this was from the Daily National Democrat, 1859, and then there was another article about it, Murder in the Kings River. A correspondent of the San Francisco National states that L.A. Whitmore, formerly owner of the Whitmore's Ferry, was recently shot in his home by Dr. Workman, one of the leaders of the Lower Kings River anti-Indian men, backed by some 10 or 15 of his party. And just talks a little bit more. So it just talks a little bit more. And there was another article written here by the Sacramento Daily Union talking about the same thing. They just add a little bit more information. But it was really quite sad because after this, I do not know what happened, because there's not much mentioned in the newspapers after this murder about the local tribes. Now, it doesn't mean that they weren't written, it's just that not all the local newspapers are digital. The Tulare County, many of the Tulare County newspapers are not digital. You have to go to Tulare County, and then you don't get to use the miracle of artificial intelligence to figure out what they say. You gotta look. So it's hard. So in terms of photos, very hard to find. This is one from my collection. This is the only photo I've been able to find of what was called on the back a digger Indian. That's what they called them, because they dug and lived in the ground. That was the home. That's where they lived. It was inside that hole in the ground. You see a tribal member there, a tribal member there, and up on the top. This is a very interesting photo that I found when I was scanning some photos from Crow's family. In fact, this photo has been taken. It's now on the wall of the tribal offices in Santa Rosa Rancheria. What I learned was that this was a major celebration for this woman right here, because she had twins. And they were it was like a wonderful thing for the tribe. And the picture of the tribe, they have a caption, they have everybody identified in this photo. And I asked some of the tribal members that are clients of mine, I said, what happened to this family? And they wouldn't talk about it. And I learned that her kids died within a year from this picture was taken. And tribal members do not talk about the dead. It is not what they do, and so they don't discuss it, what happened. So it was kind of it was a happy moment, and it was a sad moment at the same time. Right here, let's see here. This little boy right here is Clarence Atwell's father. Okay. And see there's a missionary here, and they see the little white girl there, and it's just, anyway, this is the Santa Rosa Church. That's where the Santa Rosa Rancheria gets its name from. This is the tribal school, and this is what it was like out at the reservation. That was the school they had. And then I've been able to find over the years pictures of tribal members, this woman with her child, and then I would assume this is a granddaughter of this woman and a great-grandchild. And then this is some of the tribal members that live up around Pine Flat Dam. This is their home. And then these are pictures of this woman showing how the baskets that she can make. I would love to find a better view of this man, because this guy was named Sunil, a Tachi medicine man and rainmaker from the north shore of the Tulare Lake. He was born and died at the old Tachi village of Waiu, so he was on the Santa Rosa Rancheria. He was also known as Bautista, and was possibly one of the signers of the Camp Barber Treaties in 1851. And the picture, the caption talks about all the things that he's wearing there. If I could get a better picture of that, it would be much easier to see. Now, the last picture I have in the slideshow is of this man. If you go out to the Tachi tribe in their little movie theater, you walk in and there's a statue of Clarence Atwell greeting you. And it's a great, great statue. It looks just like him. And he was responsible for getting that casino going. He really did not think for himself. He thought for the tribe. That was always his thought process. And I like it because he's got this little smirk on his face. And I was really happy to see that there. So that's my show. Any questions? If you have to wave your hand because I'm.
You had a picture with the Croce archive.
Yes.
Is that Croce family that's down in?
Yes. Yeah. Chandler Croce was a client of ours, and he was he took a lot of photos, and he has photos of the Tulare Lake farming operations from early 1900s, and on my Tulare Lake presentation I used a lot of those pictures as well. Yeah, that was in their archives, and yeah, I actually have those pictures. They've loaned them to me, and I'm putting them in better books so that they don't lose the images. Any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, hey Michael, one thing I've been interested in, do you know if there were any lithic materials in the Tulare Lake area? Because from what I've seen, for instance, I got quite a number of points from the Clark family.
Mm-hmm.
All of the lithic materials for making points and portable mortars
Mm-hmm.
were all brought in from surrounding areas.
Mm-hmm.
And so the things that are found there reflect materials that were brought in from far, far away.
Right.
Sometimes.
Well, you know those stone mortars that I showed at the beginning of the slide. Somebody had to carry that from the Three Rivers area. They didn't have horses. Somebody had to lug that thing down the hill. And again, you know, how long was it out there? How long did the people live out there? I don't know. So it's really. I saw another hand up back there. Yes.
I was kind of curious whether the Tachi tribe has called in their baskets. I think there was a law several years ago of Indian tribes that are calling in their baskets.
Yes, there is a lot going on there. I think they're trying to do it quietly behind the scenes. They don't want to make a scene. They're very. The tribe was, they've gone through, I mean, not the current residents, but a lot of the older people that are now passed on, they remember what it used to be like. And so they're thankful to have what they have now. But, it is unfortunate because really the Wachumna tribe is extinct. The Chowchilla tribe is pretty much extinct. The only ones left are the Tachis. And the Tachis were considered to be the lower class tribe because the Wachumna had the nice river and the nice place to live, and the Chowchilla ran the plains and had these dirty little Indians running around the lake here, little mud hens running around, and everybody looked down upon them. Well, they're the ones that survived. So.
Was there ever a law that said that they had to, that the person who had the baskets?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm there. I don't know because, again, I don't know. I should know, but I don't. Any other questions back there? Yeah, I see the hand back there.
How long has the rancheria been established?
I have a map from the 1930s that shows the rancheria there as a place. It's been down there, in terms of an actual rancheria, I would think at least the 30s. But they were there before then, because there were several tribal members that owned that property when it was a rancheria. So I think it goes back further than that. Yeah.
So the bulls, are they granite, or do you know where they're sourced from?
Well, they're from the river rock. They would just grind these.
It's all the same.
It's river rock. Yeah, they're just the round rocks out of the river. They start grinding on it, and after a while, you make a little pit. Keep grinding. It makes a little pit. And so when they would eat the acorn meal, they would also eat bits of rock, and it would wear down their teeth.
And the obsidian arrows.
Yes.
They were traded from other
Yes.
tribes.
And in fact, the asphalt was actually a more prized item. And when I talk about asphalt, we're talking about the tar seeps that were down in McKittrick. And just like the La Brea tar pits in Southern California, there are tar pits that are in Kern County. And what would happen is that they would get a chunk of asbestos or of asphalt, and they would throw it into a basket along with a hot rock, and they would roll that rock around with that asphalt in there, and it would waterproof the basket, so it would hold water. Now, granted, it's probably not the best thing to drink out of, but at the time, hey, it worked, you know?
But my dad, in
Yeah.
the 1930s and 20s, he used to go to Tar Canyon,
Yeah,
and he'd go up to Tar Canyon, that's where you got your tar. And they'd
That's
put it
right.
in the bottom of their trough, so the water wouldn't leak.
ah.
And they put that tar.
You know where Tar Canyon Road is out of Avenel. I went up there before they closed it off. Yeah, it's kind of a joke for the people in Avenel because it's just a little tiny little tar thing. But it's, you know, to see tar in the ground, it's kind of nice and neat.
Yeah.
And I know I've seen other hands come up.
Well, I was gonna ask about the obsidian too.
Yeah.
Do they know where they got it from?
I think that from what I've been told was that they got it out of Northern California, part of the trading. Around here, I don't think there's much in terms of obsidian. I did learn that there are places in the western foothills here that are not publicly known, but I've been invited to go see them, of Stonehenge-like structures and or paintings that follow the seasons of the year. And they don't tell anybody about them because the last time somebody told about them, people went up there and destroyed it and broke them away and broke off the wall to sell it to, you know, to sell that hieroglyph or whatever. So I've been asked if I go, I can't tell where it's at. So I'm dying to get up there, but I wasn't able to do it this year. I'm going to wait until after April 15th and then go up there with my camera and take pictures of it and show that. It's because there was a lot of their culture that just died out with them. Within 100 years, they went from 5,000 years of unmolested to extinct. They were gone.
Huh.
Yeah. So it is really quite sad because they had a rich history, but that's progress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any estimates about how many were here?
From the books that I had, they were saying anywhere from 60 to 100